So I've known Isaac my entire life. See, we grew up together in a small village outside of Capernaum, and the four of us were inseparable. Elijah, Josiah, Isaac, and I. And one day we were heading to the river to go play like we always do. But this time was special. You see, I had just saved up all my coins, and I had bought my first ever brand new rope. And I was so proud of it. I carried it along with me everywhere that I went. So, as we head to the river, rope in hand, I noticed a huge tree on the side with a branch hanging right over the edge of the water. So naturally, I grab my rope, I swing it up there, I take a few steps back, I run towards it, I grab on, and I swing into the water. It was incredible. And then Elijah follows me, and then Josiah, and then it was Isaac's turn. See, Isaac had the largest, most hilarious, goofiest laugh you would have ever heard. He takes a few steps back. We're cheering his name. And he runs up, he grabs the swing, and he swings into the water. But this time, the rope had slid a little bit to the left on the branch. He landed in the water. We're all cheering his name still. But what we hadn't seen was the rock that Isaac had landed on neck first. And so we swim over to him, we shake him, he's unconscious. Isaac, we know something's wrong because he's not laughing anymore. So we pick him up out of the water, we carry him home. The three of us, 8 years old, trying our best, his limp, cut, bleeding, broken, and bruised body. And once the local healers tell us that he's paralyzed, we visit every day. And I had heard people questioning and talking about what he must have done to get on the wrong side of God, what he must have said to deserve this kind of punishment. He was 8 years old. He did nothing. But life continues. We all still played in the river. Isaac didn't. We played games. Isaac couldn't. We went to rabbi school. Isaac didn't. We all got married. We had kids. And every day became a few times a week, which became a few times a month, and then once a year, and then never. I was married. I had kids. I had virtually forgotten of Isaac. And then one day, I'm heading back to Capernaum to go take care of some business on the coast. And outside the city gates, there's a group of beggars sitting by a well. I walk, head down, trying not to talk to them. And one of them raspily whispers, "Joseph, Joseph." So I say, "Nope, not me, can't be me." Keep walking, and then again, "Joseph." And I look down, and sure enough, it's Isaac. And after all these years, he's landed up here, outside, begging, alone. So I find Elijah and Josiah in Capernaum. And we all meet together, and we talk to Isaac a little bit more. And so I start coming back to Capernaum every once in a while. And we move Isaac into Josiah's brother's, Jacob's house. And it became about every other week or so. But one time when I was heading back to Capernaum, I hear news of Jesus coming home. And after hearing what he had done recently, I knew I just had to see him. But I also knew if he was the real deal, Isaac needs to see him. So I tell Elijah, Josiah, and Jacob the good news. And early the next morning, we get up before the sun rises, and we go to where they say is going to be, but the streets are lined with people already. We don't get inside. We don't even get near the property. We've basically given up. But then Elijah looks at me, and he says, "Okay, Joseph, hold on. What if we go onto the roof, we make a hole, and then we slide him down into it?" Hold on. Elijah, you want me to go onto a roof, grab a shovel, and dig a hole into this man's house who we don't know, and slide our paralyzed friend into it, onto a man who could possibly heal him? And he says, "Exactly." I don't remember much, except just the burning in my arms as I'm digging into this man's roof, tiles going everywhere. And then we're sliding our most vulnerable, paralyzed friend on his mat with rope fastened to every corner, down on top of a man who could possibly heal him. He lands. Jesus looks down at him and then up at us, smiling. And then he says, "Son, your sins are forgiven." His sins. Really? Really, Jesus? His sins are fine. It's his legs that don't work. And we're all sticking our heads into the hole, watching. And the scribes, ruining everything like they always do, where they say, blasphemy this and blasphemy that. And honestly, I could not care less who is sinning against who right now. I'm about to hop down that hole and carry Isaac out of there myself if I have to. And Jesus looks at them. And again, he says, "Son, your sins are forgiven." But then he says, "Stand up, take up your mat, and go home." And Isaac stands up. He bends down. He picks up his mat. He bends back up. And he walks through the crowd of people, through the doors, outside. And we jump off that roof, not really caring about property damage. And we run to him. And we hug him and we embrace him. And he laughs. He has not laughed since he was 8 years old. And he laughs and he laughs. And as we're walking back to his mother's house, who he has not seen since he's been stranded onto the streets, he says, "Hey, Joseph, it's kind of hot outside. How about we take a crack at that river again?"